This is Listen Up Home Buyers, the only podcast offering home buying advice and tips from true buyer agents. And now, here's your host, Victoria Ray Henderson.
My next guest on Listen Up Home Buyers is the owner and principal designer for Rendered Redesign. I'm so happy that you've taken time to talk to us. Welcome, Colleen Quinn.
Thank you so much. Hi, Victoria. Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you. Just for everyone's background knowledge, we are in the middle of the pandemic, and Colleen and I have met before, talked about, the fact that so many new home buyers will often need basically help redesigning or remodeling their home. And I just wanted to bring you on so that you could kind of give us a background, who you are, how you go about helping people. So yeah, go ahead and give us a little background about you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, by training, actually, I'm an urban planner, but I have always done design and creative things on the side. I opened my business about almost 9 years ago, and it really just took off. And I think we offer a little bit of a unique set of services for homeowners that allows a little bit more flexibility and control over their own budget. So we specialize in residential design, and I like to think of it as, really building a partnership with the homeowners and having a really nice balance of function as well as aesthetics. So typically, we would work with someone wanting either to just refresh a room, like a dining room, living room, bedroom, or someone who really wants to do a little bit more renovation. If it's a room design, we would typically talk to them about their style, budget, who uses the space, how they use the room, and then we would put together a design package for them with guidance on everything. So size of new seating, artwork, lamps, and then really lay it out for them so that they can make purchases and set up the room on their own schedule and at their own pace.
So I know that you are located, physically in the greater Washington, D.C. area, yes. But would you be able to provide services to anybody who came across your website and needed help, anyone in the country?
At this point, we have moved all of our services to virtual for obvious reasons. We are trying to keep everyone safe and work from home. Most of our work, even before the pandemic, was done virtually. Other than that initial meeting to look at the home and tour and take measurements, we would then go off on our own and do design, put all the work together, and then we would meet a second time with clients. Okay. Now we have moved all those to virtual video meetings. And so we've really been doing a lot of work over video. And I think the measuring is the only part that is tricky for people, but we have a guide. And over video, we often walk with people through a room so that we know we're getting an accurate measurement.
So they're the ones who are doing the measuring when you do the virtual. So, okay, so I'm going to back up and start with my first thought when you told me of your background being an urban planner. Why did you open up your Rendered Redesign company?
Yeah, well, I've always done design on the side. I took a lot of art classes, graphic design classes. I went to school at Mass College of Art for a while. And while I love planning and I miss it, family demands and really wanting to be a small business owner prompted me to start the company. I wanted to have that experience. I have a wide range of background in business and marketing and sales. And I just thought it was a really good blend of my skills.
Yeah. Yeah. And you clearly, just from when we've chatted before, you clearly are in control of your time. And when you have children, I think a 9 to 5 or usually an 8 to 6 is almost impossible.
It is. Yes. I have 3 kids and they are very close in age. So they came one right after the other, and it was difficult to maintain a demanding job in the city. So part of the reason for opening my doors was to have a little bit more flexibility over my schedule. And now, I work a lot of hours, but I'm able to set the hours.
Right.
And I do work a lot of nights and weekends, but it fits for being able to be home in the afternoon for the kids when they get
No,
off the
that's
bus.
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So walk me through again, when you first decided to do this, what did you do first? Did you create your website?
Yeah, I started just doing a little bit of research and, looking at the market, looking at competitors, what people needed. And I really found a bit of a gap, in terms of services for homeowners who wanted their homes to look nice, but didn't necessarily want to spend, $300 on an accent pillow because they have small kids or, a dog, or they didn't have a full budget where they wanted to just hand over, a large sum of money to someone and have the room done for them. They kind of wanted to be part of the process and have a little bit more control over their budget.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was really networking. I reached out to friends and people that I knew in my community that might need some help. And I started by just taking on really small projects actually before I quit, before I left my planning job.
Oh my goodness.
At night, just to test it and see if there was a market for it.
Right.
And then once I really had a great response, from people, and that there was really a need for this kind of mid-level design, I then came up with a name, created my website, got a logo, and then just opened the doors.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yes.
So if I were to come to you and say, hey, I have X amount of dollars for a budget to redo my family room,
Yep.
I could come to you with, maybe the couches I wanted, or my original couch, maybe I wanted to keep it. Maybe I have my own ideas and some of my own furniture. How do you incorporate all of that into your design?
Sure. Yes. So, well, we are happy. We don't require people to start with a blank slate. So we're happy to work in pieces that you love or things that are your favorite. We will absolutely walk through and talk about those items and make sure that they're a fit for the room and they're not constraining the design in any way. So sometimes people need help kind of editing out and deciding which pieces are worth hanging on to and using, and maybe which ones in some time would be worth replacing.
You do a little Marie Kondo kind of thing.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I would think that to me would be the most challenging part, telling people that maybe something doesn't fit.
I usually say to everybody, you're hiring us for our design expertise. And so we do try to push the envelope a little bit. And even with our design, we always say, like, this design that we create a really lovely design board like they do on HGTV. We always push it just a little bit, knowing that people will pull back a little. I always say, this is your house. I'm going to give you my advice. And from my point of view, what would look the best and function the best, but you are the ones who live here. And we want the home to be comfortable and fit the person who's living there. So we are very open-minded and not rigid in our design in that way. And I think that makes people feel a lot more comfortable having us come in and make recommendations. And we understand a range of budgets. We also help people kind of understand or think through where the best place is to spend the money. If they have a limited budget, we usually say, let's spend it on the sofa, and an area rug. And then we can kind of bargain shop for some of those other smaller pieces that don't get as much heavy use.
Right.
So we will talk to people also about the best way to use their money. And that goes for renovations as well.
It kind of reminds me of when Target, I don't know how many years ago it was, they brought in these designers, and these designers started making really cool looking toasters and really great pillows. And I don't know how many times I said, I can't believe I just bought, bedroom curtains at Target and I love them. But they had really nice things for a good price. And this isn't an ad for Target, by the way, everybody. It could be any store.
No, but we do source things from Target. So I think that's the other thing, because people are buying their own items and we are not making purchases for clients and we're not marking things up. So if somebody has a certain amount that they're trying to stick with in a budget, then we'll spend a little more again on some of those key pieces. And then we'll do accessories from Target or Wayfair or Home Goods, and try and really just use people's budgets in the smartest way. So Target has great pillows and lamps.
Oh, I know.
We always source lamps from Target.
So how do you make your money in this business?
Yeah, I mean, we're basically consultants. So we provide people with a firm quote to design the specific space or spaces that they are interested in. So in an initial meeting, we would kind of talk through everything they need, and we would tailor an estimate for them. And so they're just paying for our time. They're paying for our expertise and our professional design work.
One thing we haven't talked much about is you've mentioned remodeling. Do you team up with contractors? And if somebody's not in the greater Washington, D.C. area, would you be able to help them with that kind of project?
So we do a lot of kitchens and baths. And we do have a contracting partner that we work very closely with, but we also work with any contractors that a client might want to use. And we've done some remote renovations. It's definitely a little bit more challenging because we have our retailers and sources for materials here, basically. But I think that we would be able to translate that to any place in the country. Like we work with tile stores that are nationwide. So we would be able to get, like right now, we're able to contact our sales folks at various tile stores and have samples of tile that we've picked sent directly to clients.
Oh, that's
so
great.
It's touch-free other than the warehouse and delivered right to their doorstep. So we're still able to kind of work through tile choices and counter choices and paint. We can also send paint 8x11 paint chips to people directly from Benjamin Moore.
Oh, I love that.
And that's been really helpful. Yeah, so people can kind of see all of the materials together. I think one of the best things for us has been helping new homeowners kind of set up and realize that the vision that they have for their new house. And those have been some of our most gratifying projects because a client is often a new homeowner, overwhelmed by having to move and deal with, maybe there's some improvements in the home that need to be done before getting there. And they don't know what furniture that they own now will fit into the new house. And it's because it's very comprehensive, and we can kind of come in and help that process and help them feel that they're in much more control and not as overwhelmed with that whole stage of their life, which is a big deal. And we've really loved working with new homeowners and kind of making sure that the house lives up to everything that they dreamed when they bought it.
Colleen Quinn, owner and principal designer with Rendered Redesign. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And for those of you who want to know more about Colleen, go to renderedredesign.com. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
You've been listening to Listen Up Home Buyers, the only podcast offering home buying advice and tips from true buyer agents.